Good morning, my money magnets. This is your favorite girl, Mofire, spelling Moefire, for walking my shoes, coming to you live and direct. Today, I was thinking about how there are so many of us daughters, of mothers, that we haven't had contact with our mothers. My heart goes out to myself, which I must admit, and I have admitted over a period of time. And I go to express that I didn't like to know that another young lady online, what is officially M, um, she is also going through some things with her mother, and also Peaches with the peach patch. Those are two that really stand out because we do be going through trauma. And when I was coming, my mother used to say, go on somewhere and sit down. Y'all kids don't come with instructions. And then I had went through my life trying to find out if that was true. And then when I realized when Pastor Gino Jennings was preaching about Bible means basic instructions before leaving earth. Yeah, I love that. Those are not my words. Those is his words, Pastor Gino Jennings. So I adopted those words and put them in my heart for the rest of my life now, because it makes a lot of sense. We do come with instructions. Just like if we bought a motorbike, a new table, a new chair, a new couch, whatever, a refrigerator, stove, a radio, everything comes with instructions. Why would God create us and don't give his children instructions? We have instructions, basic instructions before leaving earth. And maybe that's why people hate the Bible so much, because they don't want people to tell them what to do. But why would you not want somebody to explain to you the correct way of living and how to live to be prosperous and how to be healthy and how to be more loving than being a jerk, a nuisance, a menace to society? A menace to society, a jerk, and a nuisance all fall in the category of being freestyling through life. That's like when our parents have us. I was a 16-year-old girl that gave birth to a child. We start teaching our children that's under our wing what we already have learned from being with our parents, and our parents just providing the best they can so we could survive day by day, just to get us until we of the age 18, 21, so we could go on our own. So I say this to say there is instructions, but our parents just didn't give us a chance because they become frustrated. You know why they become frustrated? Because they found the men in their life that they want to be with. Just like when we run into a time when we want to be with our man be like, child, I don't want to hang out with you no more, girl. I like you and I love you, girl, but I got to go be with my Meon, honey. Because when that man in the mood, we got to sit there and cater to his mood. And when his mood change, we be like, damn, I don't want to see him go. He ready to go hit the streets. So we try to get all we going to get until the getting is good and over with. So that's another part. And another part, I understand why our parents had a hard time with us is, I'm gonna say, for the ones that's had a child. So me and Peaches, we can go into probably maybe this category of having kids. I know I made my mother a grandmother at the age 31. When I became 31, I was like, child, I still looked out my eyes like I was young. And you know what it was, my baby son told me? He said, Ma, you know this is the same age you made grandma or grandma? I said, wow. And when you're 31, you don't want to be tied down. You're just starting to enjoy life, you know? And she had her man too. I come from a two-parent household, which my parents was married coming out of high school. Then they was separated and divorced, and then I came instantly with a stepfather, which is my bonus dad, and stayed around for 42 years. So he was good to my moms, but they was a team like Bonnie and Clyde, you know? So sometimes you just can't blame them why they get so frustrated. The only thing I'm mad at my moms is about why you just didn't include me too. I wanted to be in the family too. I wanted to be loved because I love her. I look at her like she's amazing and she's beautiful. She might not know everything, but she a hustler. people used to call her like, child, how you get this? Or how you do this? Or, oh, shoot, my coffee. How you do this? How you do that? And then she'd tell them. And next thing you know, they work out a situation, they disappear. Then she'd be talking to her husband, telling son, you see how they do me? They get my little information, then they switch up on me. And then, you know, I just didn't like the part where she switched up on her own child. I just felt like, I can't remember too much of when I was younger. I know mommy was good to me and she dressed me nice, but I went to go live with my aunt in Georgia for a little bit. Maybe it was a summer, but it felt like I was there for years. But from there, when she got, well, her husband, which is my stepfather, she fell in love and she kind of excluded me because it was them. Then she had his kids. And when she had his kids, of course she gonna take care of his kids and do right, because you gotta impress your man. He ain't gonna let you dog his kids out. And of course he sticked around because he wanted to raise his kids. Just like when his kid, which is one, my sister had a child, of course he helped babysit his grandkid. He wasn't gonna let his grandkid just go to anybody. He was showing the man that loved his kids. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we kind of got excluded, which is my father's 3 kids. I'm the only girl, I'm the second girl. And my brother, my older brother, and my younger brother after me, you know, we had our ups and downs, but basically we went on and lived our life at a young age. Well, I was a minor at the age 16. You know, I got pregnant at 15. And honestly, I'd be thinking my mother just hated me from the day I got pregnant on, and I'm 50 now, so that's 34 years. I'm still living in the hate. But it's okay. I'm all right, because I went to her and I said, Ma, can I have birth control pills? Because the boy that I had a kid by was just kept asking me and asking me and asking me and asking me and asking me. And she liked him because he was in the church, but he went to the other church, Living Waters, and we went to Living Savior. And we was always at church, because church was our life all the time. So he kept asking me and asking me and asking me. So I tried to have a mother and daughter relationship as best I could. So I went to her one day, was across the street. I said, Ma, can I talk to you about something? She's like, what? I said, can I have birth control pills? What? Can I have birth control pills? I think I'm ready to do it. She said, birth control pill? No, I ain't giving you no birth control pill. That's going to mean you're going to be a whore. That's giving you permission to go out there and have sex. No, but I had that boy on my heels asking me, asking me, asking me. Then one night he came to my window, tapping on the window. Next thing you know, I gave in. And then, to be honest, you know, I'm going to tell my true confession. My true confession was with that was that 2 things. It was the girl had a kid at a young age, and God bless her soul, and I didn't know kids can have babies. And when Anthony kept asking me, she was telling me how she just, I think she just had her baby and she was pregnant again. And I think she got pregnant in the hospital when she just had a baby, because her baby father was so greedy. He wanted to get on top of it even when it was still an open draining womb. So next thing you know, I was fascinated. And I always remember this one HBO story this lady said on Pimp Down, what is it, Holes at East Point or Whole Point or something. She said, the young girls, you want to know about prostitution, right? This is off topic, but I'm going to tell you why I was intrigued. If they want to know about prostitution, they ask them about prostitution, that means they got some type of interest in it. So I always thought of that, because I heard that on a late night cable special. So I had, she was telling me about babies, how she was pregnant, so I always used to ask. And I already had a fascination, because since I was young, I'm supposed to be a gynecologist and deliver babies. I'm supposed to be an OBGYN doctor. So I was like, and because I didn't know young kids can have babies. So she was on her 2nd pregnancy. So when the cat asked me for some, I hate to tell this, but I'm gonna tell it, you know, asked me for some, I finally did. We did it. And we kind of laid on my jacket, and you know, I kind of bled on my jacket and stuff like that. And so one day I was wearing my jacket, and my mother said to me, "What's that on your coat, on the back of your coat?" And I said, "Oh, that's ice cream, some chocolate ice cream." And she said, "You need to wash that off, you know." But when I looked at the coat, I was like, "Oh, shoot." That's how I said when people lie, they think the lie sound good, but it sounds like a damn joke. To me, I know exactly what it was, you know. So, but the dude, I was only 15, but my baby father was 17 at the time. And that cat burnt me. Yes, he did. And I had the girl down the street, which was like my cousin from Seattle, Washington. He came to live with us, and I was scooting. I kept taking shower after shower after shower after shower after shower. And so she went and took me down to the health department and showed me where young girls go to the pregnancy clinic and stuff like that. And even though it was a negative pregnancy test at that time, yes, my truth was I was never even pregnant at that time. That boy had gave me my first STD I ever had. I was like, oh no. You know what I'm saying? How could you do this to me? And at that time, I didn't know that he was into the same thing, but I didn't know. So proceed with the story. So the next thing you know, I go down there, get all fixed up and everything, and I'm like, you know. So these ladies come to my house, 2 Caucasian ladies come knock at my door and let you know that I'm only 15 now, and I ain't know nothing about. Honestly, all I knew was going to church, singing church music, and doing what my mother do. I used to call myself the Black Cinderella. You know what I'm saying? Because it was 5 kids, 2 parents in the household. There was 7 of us, and my mother and my stepfather used to be so in love. They used to run the street, so I had to hold the family down. My older brother kind of got a little slack. So this particular day, my mom sitting was home. Everybody was home. These 2 Caucasians come knocking at the door, and I'm in my room. Doom, 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 doom. My mother comes to the room and said, "Mona, somebody at the door for you." So I go to the door and I see these ladies. I'm like, oh, snap. What you want? What you doing here? And I'm trying to get them to eye like, get away from here, because my mother was no joke. Did you hear me? It was no joke. So next thing you know, I said, I got this. My mother said, who them? And I had to take my mother to the house, and I said, them my friends. My mother said, them ain't your friends. They too grown to be your friends. I said, they my friends. So I came up with this. Said, what they want here? And I couldn't tell my mother what my son father done to me. You understand? Thank God it was curable. But I couldn't tell her because at that time, we just moved back to this area because my mother had to come home to the funeral to bury her brother that was down, that used to live in Georgia, that caught that monkey on his back. And that was the most like, oh, that was like a shell shock, like, oh, shoot, right? So I was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm already being the Black Cinderella, and if my mother know I did some disappointing crap that I asked her, can I acquit myself with? She said no. So you know what? I told my mother. She said, what that lady? And I was so scared of my mother. You know what I told my mother? I said, I'm pregnant. Why did I sit there and say that? That's why I said after this, I would never, ever, 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 ever lie again. So I sit here and said I was pregnant because I thought that was easier to say than saying that my baby father had gave me a STD, you know. So I was like, and he was an experienced little fine, nasty, dirty dog. You know what I'm saying? Sit there and do me like that. I think he put me through my second biggest trauma in life. First one was when my parents broke up. The second one was him. That's why I hate abandonment, but I deal with it. I could love myself enough to say I can handle my loneliness. But anyway, back to the topic because I got a little bit of time. So next thing you know, I tell my mother that, and then here go my mama now. She left me in the room. She comes back in, and because she always say if I ever got pregnant, they're going to sign me up to the state. So here it is. I didn't want to go to a foster home, so I'm in the room. So she come back and say, we decided we're going to sign you up. And I broke up. Don't sign me. She said, shut up. We decided we're going to sign you up to the family and help you take care of your baby. And then I said, and all right. But you know what? Here they come because they love that money. My family, no joke. You got to have that dollar. You got to have that dollar, right? My mother never wanted the doggone proof of pregnancy. They want the proof of pregnancy slip so they could go down there and I guess start a PA case. Me, only 15. I ain't even know. So I ain't know you could get extra money. None of that crap. I don't know. So I just know they kept hounding me for the proof of pregnancy. So here go my turn now. My baby father, which was my little boyfriend then, 17, I'm 15, come to me, and I already had told him about the doctor, what you do, So of course he, boys been denying stuff, but I know I ain't did nothing, because I came out the window doing what you want me to do, went against my mother saying no. So next thing you know, we link up again. Now we linking up in the building of his mama's building. At the time, before she moved out into the house that she bought, it was a two-family. The people moved from downstairs. He had access to get in downstairs. We went in there. The cat laid me down, and I already made him think that I was already pregnant. That nigga skeeted up in me, and that's how I got pregnant. But guess what? When you sit here and lie, the lie go from bigger, 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 bigger flames. Do you know to skip over? That's why I have problems with my baby daddy. And that's why I have problems with my son, which is my oldest, is 34 to this day, because he was built off of a lie. And his father never loved him. You understand? Or he never showed love. He would show love to someone else other than his kid. So it's my fault. I was wrong. He's right to live his life. He was a young boy. I was just trying to be grown like my mother and my father that was in the house. But our mothers don't like us. And mommy didn't like me since then. But I apologize. I was trying to be grown, try to be like her in a lot of things. I was trying to be grown, but I try to be honest. So sometimes we just got to let our mothers ease up. Peaches, whatever your mother is going off on you about or did whatever, the water, whatever. Sometimes I could see, sometimes the water thing, I kind of like, damn, did that water look gray? Because it looked gray in my eyes. Hold on, I hear sirens. What I was saying, Peaches, when you say the water in the bathtub, I've been thinking about sometimes when the struggle be real, you don't have much hot water or something like that, and like the kids used to have to get all in the tub together and take a bath, and did your mama feel like she got in the tub and then she put you in the tub, hurry up and take a bath and come on out, whatever, because that's all y'all had? Because you have to remember, when you struggling, you have so much. And you try to make it happen, and then when they don't have what they have, they be evil as hell to us. Yes, they do. They be mean as hell. But I say, you know what? We can't spend no more time and energy sitting there complaining about what they do. You know how I feel myself for my mom? I just let her have her way. I don't want to argue. I don't want to say, because every time you try to tell them something, they I ain't do this, I ain't say that. Go somewhere and sit down. So I already know that means shut up. I don't want to hear it. You don't know what you're talking about means I ain't got time, and it don't bother me, so it shouldn't bother you. That's what that means, in my family. So you know what? Just live your life and be the best parent you're going to be. That's why I go over and beyond for mines, over and beyond, because I love mines. My kids matter. Ain't nothing come between mines. And I had even thought of the division. Hold on again.